DM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we deliver updates faster than you can whisper, "It's over" to yourself. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we're joined by good friend Lark Davis to share in the misery of the markets. What the F is going on out there? Oh boy. Sailor bought 2 billion in Bitcoin. It still went down. Solana is just everyone's trying to catch a falling knife. ETH, ETH is an ongoing story. Altcoins, it's just red out there. What is going on? We're going to break it all down for you guys. Going to get into some liquidity talk, some macro talk, really give you guys a zoom out to see the bigger picture here and not get caught up in the day to day. That's so easy to do. Before we jump in and hear from Lark, the Milk Road Pro team is doing a lot of great research to help you guys figure out how to navigate these markets right now. And really highly recommend you guys check out two things. One, the report that came out this past weekend, When Will Markets Move Again? Great report. And then also a video that Kyle put out earlier or last Thursday. Check that out. A great video where he walks through what is going on right now and how to play these markets and how you should feel. Today's episode is brought to you by Crypto.com, one of my favorite cards in this place. Check them out. Without further ado, Lark Davis, welcome to the Milk
What
Road
up?
Show.
What up? Holy cow. Lots changed since we last talked, hasn't it? It's been a pretty crazy day in the markets today. This is a challenging industry to work in, to invest in. And, you look at the stock market, which is S&P 500 is what, 2 and 3% off of its all-time high. But of course, that means your altcoins are down like 80, 90%. It's crazy, and this is par and course for the cryptocurrency market. As much as you may not like seeing it or hearing it or having to deal with the reality of it, if you're investing in crypto, especially anything beyond Bitcoin, really, even ETH's basically been flat for 2 years. If you're investing in anything beyond Bitcoin, you have to understand the risk that you take, right? Most of this stuff is generally BS. A lot of these things are relatively overvalued. And that doesn't mean that they don't pump and have crazy gains when markets turn into a risk on attitude, which can come really quickly. Usually it's darkest before the dawn, right? And I'm not saying that okay, bottom's in today or whatever. A lot of damage has been done. An incredible amount of damage has been done in the month of February. We had a massive liquidation, one of the biggest liquidations ever at the start of the month. I saw today's liquidations also just absolutely massive amount of money liquidated out of the market again. So the morale is going to be low. The amount of actual money people have to invest in the market, everyone's just getting washed out again and again and again. They can't even buy spot bags. Everyone's on leverage and liquidating themselves. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy. A lot of damage has been done to these markets. And yet at the flip side, this is the craziest thing. I can't remember who said it, but something like price is a liar, right? Because essentially right now, the fundamentals of the cryptocurrency industry have literally never been better.
Never.
So many major tech upgrades coming to the crypto markets, whether it be Solana's Fire Dancer, Say's Giga, Ethereum's Spectra upgrade, all kinds of big things going on. At the highest levels, we're seeing adoption of Bitcoin. At the highest levels, we're seeing regulations being passed for stable coins. We have the sovereign wealth fund coming in the USA, which is probably going to be buying crypto coins. We have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is still on the table. We have altcoin ETFs coming. All these big things going on. And yet the wind is completely out of the sails of the cryptocurrency market in the short term, right? It's almost like we're in the eye of the storm, right? We've passed through this period of
Right.
kind of crazy, and there were some big moves and some big waves we jumped off of, and okay, yeah, it's really exciting. And then just we're stuck, right? Momentum wise, we're stuck. I see that about 70%, the inflows into crypto are down about 70% since December,
Volumes are so
right?
low right now.
Volumes have crashed massively. Again, a lot of people got wiped out completely, which is insane. So the key thing right now is just to survive, right? It's just to survive these current market conditions. I don't know how long it takes. We could flip around real fast. It could be a few weeks from now. We're all talking about, hey, our markets are going up again. Could last longer than you think, right? There's that old saying that markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent, which is why we're always preaching good gospel of risk management, right? Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Do your own risk for investing, all that stuff, which rings pretty hollow in these kinds of market conditions. But that's why I'm always saying in almost every video I've been making for the last couple of years. But We are fallible creatures, right? We let the greed get the best of us, let the fear get the best of us. But this cryptocurrency market is not going anywhere. Crypto's not going anywhere, right? It's a technology that's here to stay. And yeah, some of the coins you may have invested in may go to zero and never come back. That's part of the risk that you take, which is why it's usually a good idea to have a portfolio more weighted towards safer coins in the market. But we all like to take risks sometimes, don't we? Which, can come back to burn you when we go risk off.
Yeah, I mean, if it was easy, then everyone would do it.
Yep.
We all get greedy and take chances and gamble, and that's hopefully you gamble with a smaller portion of your portfolio. But there's just first of all, I gotta say it's clear that Lark woke up, and Lark's in Asia in living in Tuesday. I'm almost in Tuesday. I'm at the end of Monday. We record this a little bit earlier than usual because we're halfway around the world, and I can tell that you're in your morning, and you've come with the morning wisdom today, which we all desperately need. So thank you, Lark. Thank you.
No worries.
When
Ay, ay,
when
ay. Okay, good. Good.
when you look at let's just center around Bitcoin for a second here. When you look at Bitcoin, we closed lowest I think we've closed this year, maybe lowest close in a long time, around 92K on Monday. I don't know if you can pull that up. So that that obviously is a signal. Question to me is, are we? And I know neither of us knows the answer, but are we gonna go below 89K, which has been that bottom line? If we go below that, then we could go to 75, 70, right? Would be like the next stop.
Mhm.
Do you think that feels like the conversation to have right now versus because we don't know when it's going to turn around and go positive. Everything seems to say it's going to go positive liquidity. We'll get into some macro talk in a second and talk about why that is. But when you look at Bitcoin, what do you think short term?
It's a very interesting place right now, and by the time everybody hears today's video, who knows where we're going to be? But I'll just point a few factors out here. Right now, the price of Bitcoin today wicked down to 90,000. Let's say $91,000. Keep it simple. Now that's the same price we came to on the 3rd of February. That's the same price we came to on the 9th of January. It's the same price we came to on the 30th of December. So ideally a strong area of price support. Now we did wick lower actually on the 13th of January, all the way down to around $89,000. So right now, as crazy as it feels, as crazy as it seems, and no one's 100% Bitcoin. Very few people are 100% Bitcoin. Probably not a lot of people listening to your podcast are 100% Bitcoin. People invest in altcoins because they want to try to
Nobody's
outperform, right?
100% Bitcoin. Nobody.
Yeah,
No.
just Sailor. Now there's
Yeah.
some guys, right? There's some guys, but not a lot of people, right? Most people have
Actually,
some exposure to altcoins.
Natalie Brunell is 100% Bitcoin. Just had her on the show recently. So there are
Nice.
there are 100% Bitcoins out there. Maybe
There
Pop's
definitely are.
100% Bitcoin. I don't think he actually is, but
There's some people, right? And I follow some of those people, but let's say it's the minority of people who invest in the cryptocurrency market, and we know statistics from Coinbase and stuff show that to be true. That the vast majority of people will invest in altcoins. Very few people stay Bitcoin only. So if you're a Bitcoin only investor, you're probably looking at the current market and going, "Yeah, it's fine." Especially with dollar cost averaging for the last 5 years, you're deeply in profit. You don't really care about all this stuff. It's just normal market movements. And realistically, Bitcoin is still within its range. And it's fine. And if it drops down to 85 or 75K, which are sort of logical price areas where it could go if we lose the range, which has not happened yet. You got to keep in mind, Bitcoin has been stuck in a range between 92 and basically $102,000 with some little deviations to the upside, with little deviations to the downside since, well, almost 3 months now, which is crazy. So during this consolidation period, usually when Bitcoin consolidates, altcoins have some kind of upside movement. The opposite has been true this time. Bitcoin's been consolidating and altcoins just continue to bleed out as money inflows have slowed down into the space overall. So Bitcoin ironically looks okay currently, but there are a few things worrying in the charts. For example, we've had a weekly MACD bear cross about 2 weeks ago. And so far, the price hasn't really reacted very much to that, which when that first happened, I kind of thought, well, maybe it's a bit of a false signal because basically we've been ranging sideways. So we hit sort of a technical MACD bearish crossover, not so much a volatility based one. But if we start seeing the volatility, then that could have been our sort of early warning signal here. So if Bitcoin drops to 75K, it's an extinction level event for a lot of altcoins, unfortunately. A lot of the altcoin charts are pretty actually cooked right now. They've lost major trend lines. Most altcoins are trading below the 200-day EMA. They've lost major uptrends, all this kind of stuff. And there's very few altcoins that are actually looking like halfway decent right now, which I'm sure everybody already realizes just by the simplicity of looking at their portfolio and looking at how red everything is. You don't need me to tell you that that's how the charts look, but the reality is a lot of things right now are also deeply oversold. The question becomes is, can we see a bounce in the near future? Can we actually see recovery in the near future? Right. And I think a lot of that, as we have discussed many times here, probably depends on what's going to play out in macro over the next few months here. Historically, we see Q1, Q2 be very bullish for cryptocurrency markets. And this kind of volatility, while generally sickening to see, especially for altcoins, is nothing new for crypto. In 2021, we had gigantic sell-offs. We had the China sell-off, actually, I think in February, which was just a massive dump, right? So Bitcoin dumped dramatically. Altcoins went down, not quite as bad as they've gone down this time, but they went down pretty bad. And you can see as well in mid 2021, we had basically a mini bear market for Bitcoin included, which went down 50%. And a lot of altcoins went down 80, 90% before then going on to go up thousands of percent later in the year. So this is all relatively standard stuff here for crypto, but it doesn't mean it's any less painful to have to go through.
Yeah, just while we're chatting about that, I'm going to bring up this tweet from Raul Paul earlier today, and he's showing a chart showing exactly this, and he says everybody needs to learn patience. This was 2017, very similar macro structure, 5+ pullbacks to 28%. Right, as you're saying, these happen. Altcoins saw corrections of 65%, and he just shows a chart and then says, "Go do something else more constructive than stare at a screen."
It's
But
true.
I can't stop. But I can't stop staring at the
No,
screen.
no,
Okay,
we're all gambling addicts, man. We're all addicted to the game.
so okay, I want to talk about Solana, and I just got to kind of double tap on the extremely fearful statement that you said moments ago, which was that if Bitcoin does break down to the next level of 75 or 70 or 80, whatever it might be, in that range, that a lot of altcoins are completely cooked. Does that mean that everybody listening that has some of those altcoins needs to sell them now and sell out and switch to cash? Does that mean what's the takeaway from that without putting too much fear into everybody's soul?
Sure. Look, I mean, at some point, you need to have an invalidation point. And for a lot of altcoins, probably it's already past invalidation points, whether you took action on that or not. If Bitcoin breaks down further here, you have to ask yourself the question, right? If you're, because altcoins can always go down further. This is the thing. There's because you're down 60, 70% on altcoin now
Yeah,
doesn't mean it can't go down another 60, 70% because
for
that's
sure.
what they do. There's almost no bottom to some of these things. Some people say, oh, there's limited sort of profitability in shorting. Depends what asset you're shorting because they just keep going down. Anyway, besides the point. Look, moving to cash now is not the most optimal time to do it for a variety of reasons, right? You've already seen your assets go down 60, 70% in some cases from all-time highs, right? And this is an interesting question too, because I think psychology can definitely affect us too. If you top blasted everything in December, you're hurting a lot more versus the guy who's been dollar cost averaging into stuff for the last 2 years. And maybe you're down 10, 20% on some of your positions because you actually had really good entries. That's a big difference compared to the guy who came in and top blasted in December and you're actually down 60, 70%, maybe 80% on some of your coins right now. There's some of my like AI agent coins and stuff that are down so much it's not even worth thinking about them anymore. Basically they're write-offs at this point. But a lot of my bigger bags, I've been sort of like, a lot of them are still in profit. Like my ETH bags are still in profit. My Link bags are still in profit. So, if you want, here's the thing too. People are very afraid to move in and out of cash. Cash is also a position. This is the thing to think about. I find it hard to advocate for, cutting all your bags when everything's kind of down this bad. But if you think things are going to get worse, then yeah, I suppose there's a case to be made for that. But then you actually have to rebuy in the most extreme fear situation, which most people also won't do, right? So there's a lot of nuances to the conversation here, but there's nothing wrong with taking some money off the table, right? Especially if you get to the point where it's keeping you up at night. You can't sleep, you can't concentrate. It is effing you up bad.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with taking a few bucks out and just getting it to a level where you can sleep again at night. Even if that means taking some losses, even if that means, selling at the least optimal time. Because remember, you can always come back in later, right?
Mhm.
Just because you sell out of something doesn't mean you can't come back in. Again, I find it hard to advocate for selling at sort of these extreme price lows, but we could see lower prices if macro turns over or if Bitcoin dumps down to 75K. Again, it's going to be really bad for altcoins.
Yeah, there's a couple follow-ups there, comments there. Uh, First, I think you nailed it when you said that you should have your validation point for your tokens, and you should be looking at your portfolio on a regular basis. And holding yourself accountable to, hey, when you buy into something, especially when you're buying into, like, I'm not talking about your Solana and your ETH and your Bitcoin bags here, right? Like, even some of your other, very well great revenue projects that are doing really well, even some of those, I'm talking about, like, your meme coins, your AI agent tokens. Those, you need to constantly be looking at your portfolio and questioning certain of those investments and making shifts, and whether that's selling out to cash or making a shift. But I think at the same time, as you said, too many people sell in fear, and there's a lot of fear right now. And these are very, as Raul Powell said, and you said earlier, these are very common pullbacks in a cycle, very common. And so let's I do want to talk about Solana, because that's just getting so much attention right now. But let's go to macro, because we keep bringing up macro to give everybody a little bit of positive vibes,
Let's get
maybe.
let's get people some hopium, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Let's go there.
We all know it's shit, but look, there's actually fundamentally, it's crazy. Fundamentally, crypto's never been better. We have so many good things going on. It's absolutely nuts. But if you look at the macro, there's a few interesting things. Micro and crypto, one comment is that for the last two cycles, here's a fun fact: for the last two cycles, the others, which is all the altcoins outside of the top 10 versus Bitcoin, has bottomed in February before going on an absolutely massive run. So that was true in 2021 and true in 2017. Third time lucky.
Yes, Lark. That's what I needed. That's what
Let's
I
go.
fucking needed, man.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Holy shit. So that's one interesting thing. The other interesting thing has been, well, macro, we can switch over to gold. Gold's been on a great rally recently. Bitcoin tends to lag about 6-8 weeks behind major gold moves. So if Bitcoin starts grinding up again, your altcoins are going to start grinding up behind it. Okay, very reflexive to the king, right? So if Bitcoin starts grinding up based on the moves that gold has been making, then that's going to be very interesting as well. The biggest signal, I think, and there's a lot of noise in the market right now, but the biggest signal, I think, right now is the global M2 money supply. So it's interesting. We talked, I think, probably back in December around the pullback in global M2 that was already starting to happen, and whether or not crypto was going to follow that. Bitcoin has, to a small extent, followed that. You can see sort of the slowdown momentum. But what really followed the slowdown in global M2 was the altcoin market. Now, what's interesting is that global M2 is now picking up again. This is going on for a few weeks now. So if global M2 keeps moving in the direction that it does, if the dollar index keeps going down as it has been, if long-term bond yields keep moving down as they have been, this all speaks very well for risk assets. So as global M2 increases, and it has been increasing recently, it provides a lot more fuel to the fire for a potential reversal in cryptocurrency markets as we see more money come into the system. It's the rising tide that lifts all boats. And we see an eventual rally here for crypto coins, probably March, April, May, something like that. It's amazing, guys. I remember all you need is one good green candle and sentiment changes completely. Okay. So the big signal right now is that the macro so far is okay. Now there's some problems in macro too. Obviously, we need to keep an eye on inflation, which there's expectations inflation is going to move higher. If inflation moves higher, that's problematic. There's expectations that unemployment numbers are going to go up, which is almost a certainty because Trump's firing a lot of people. But those unemployment numbers become a bit of a false signal as well, because, yeah, those people just got unemployed, but they also got basically a year of pay as severance package. So, like, it's not like they're going to be some massive drain on the economy immediately. They'll find new jobs. They'll be fine. But still, the numbers will spook Wall Street and most investors, I think, when that stuff starts happening. So the macro is good. There's also some red flags that we need to also pay attention to, particularly around inflation.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely the the macro is heading in a could be heading in a very positive direction. The thing about w- where we are with macro and liquidity cycle is it's heading in the right direction. ISM is looking good. Like all these things are looking positive, but we're not quite where we would like to be. Like we need more of a surge of liquidity. It just feels like macro is going to be slow right now. Is kind of
Mhm.
the feeling you get coming into this year, right? Like it might be, but I mean, Trump just took office. Like all he wants is to
Yeah.
pump the U.S. stock market and pump the U.S. economy, and he's going to do that. I have no doubt that he will do that. Okay, let's chat about Solana. What's going on with Solana? Are you buying at this rate? Just feels so cheap right now. Or are you just thinking it might go lower and I'm trying to catch a falling knife if I'm buying right
Yeah.
now? Because it feels like lots of people are.
It's been pretty brutal. Right now, sitting at not the strongest zone of support. The strongest zone of support for Solana is $120, which is a brutal correction for Solana if it plays out like that. Now, I exited my Solana position the other day. I didn't get to exit it quite when I wanted to because I was like an idiot staking my coins, right? So it took a couple days to unlock those. So I didn't, because basically when we lost the was it the 200-day EMA? I thought, okay, that's it. That's probably going in for a deeper correction, especially with all the FUD going on right now around Libra,
Mhm,
around the
mhm.
unlocks and stuff like that. And this is the thing, to be clear with the unlocks would not be a big deal if the market was in a bullish phase. But with inflows down 70%, with everybody terrified right now in the markets, unlocks become a big deal suddenly. And the market's front running those unlocks, which are about to happen in just a few days, right? So you can see that playing out, particularly for Solana right now. Plus, we've had a real reckoning in the Solana ecosystem where unbelievable criminality has been exposed. And it's good that it's been exposed. The Kelsier group, the Libra coin, the Melania coin, the insider cabal of influencers who've been pumping all this stuff up. It's quite funny. I saw a post the other day that, or yeah, yesterday, I think that was that there's been no daily runners. That's coins that go from like zero to $500 million market cap and back to zero since the Kelsier group was exposed, right? And all the
Mm.
pump and dumps that they've been
Oh
running.
God.
So this is the thing you got to keep in mind how much activity was being pushed into the Solana ecosystem through all these sort of meme coins and stuff like that. It's been the number one casino, and the casino now, people are waking up and realizing like, we're not gambling anymore. We're just having our money stolen from us by criminal cartels. And this is the thing. I've always been for meme coins. I like meme coins. But there's the game changed, right? We had earlier meme coins that were sort of more honest meme coins. They had more fair launches and people actually kind of made money on them at some point, and that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with meme coins. But the game very quickly, due to pump.fun, which is not most of the time doesn't pump, but it's not very much fun. It's basically just a slaughterhouse for retail. And it became very quickly became a place where criminal cartels, whether we talk about the Kelsier group or a lot of other groups that are now being exposed, plus just really international crime rings and stuff like that, which I guarantee have been there. Just they know they can just keep launching these meme coins on pump.fun and keep extracting money from the market. And they've done it so well. They've literally made probably billions of dollars doing this retail money that would have otherwise gone into more fruitful things in the market, technology and stuff that's boring, like Chainlink. Oh, Chainlink, great technology, but it doesn't have a dog picture, so I'm not going to buy it. Right. So
I mean,
look,
you and I
this.
experience it every day. We both put out content every day on YouTube, and you and I have talked many times about how much our content gets botted with some new token of the day
Mhm.
that somebody is trying to pump and scam, and yeah, and yeah, it's bad.
So this is the thing is it's a perfect storm of shit for Solana right now. The unlocks, the unwind of the criminal cartel activity, all this kind of stuff, plus the implications for Meteora, which may allegedly may have had some implications on insider dealings with the Kelsier group and others, and there's a lot of things working against Solana right now, plus the general sort of risk off vibe that's happening in crypto, and Solana being one of the main recipients of that risk off vibe. And of course, you have to factor in that there's a lot of people who have been invested in Solana for a long time. They have big profits, and they're seeing that, okay, markets are turning in a direction that I don't want to, so they're dumping their bags, taking out the money, and that's just adding more sell pressure. So it's the perfect storm of sell pressure for Solana. How long that lasts? Do we get to $120? Does $120 hold if we get there? A lot of questions I don't have a lot of good answers to, but the simple fact is it's been pretty bad for Solana recently, and until it starts showing some strength, you're okay to sit out on the sidelines. This is the thing too I like to tell people, is that you can just chill sometimes. You don't have to rush into positions. Everyone wants to try and catch a falling knife, and usually get cut when you do that. You can actually wait for these coins to establish some kind of bottom. You can wait for some kind of strength to actually return. I mean, Solana right now, as an example, is dramatically under the 200-day EMA. It's not even close to the 20-day EMA is the one that I use most for sort of short-term momentum indicator. It is at $180 right now, the 20-day EMA, and the Solana price is at $140. You can see what an extreme deviation that we have right now for that. Now, the one thing, if you're a long-term value investor and you believe in the future of Solana, it is deeply oversold right now on the daily RSI. In fact, let me just have a look at this. We are right now as oversold as we were mid-June of 2023, or sort of around like the FTX collapse. So if you believe that the crisis right now for Solana is as bad as the FTX collapse, well, the RSI would agree with you, and there's probably an opportunity there, but it doesn't mean the price can't go lower or that we can't become more oversold. So you need to keep that in mind as well. But we're probably getting, unless macro rolls over and we just go into like full on like recession and bad things, then we're probably getting closer to a bottoming level on some of these coins.
Closer, he says. That was that was kind of sad for Solana, the state of Solana, the way the way you put it right there. Still, are you still long on Solana though? I mean, I know you've exited your position, but are
long
you
term,
still long term?
long term, Solana is still mega bullish. It's
Yeah,
Solana has become a victim of its own success,
yeah,
which is kind of a crazy thing. And people who weren't around for previous cycles are going to look and say, "Oh, look, Solana, all that bad stuff happened there, so Solana's bad." No, no, no. Bad stuff happened on Solana because it's the most usable chain where the most of the
that's
retail
fair.
market goes. In 2017, ICOs, and we had the same conversation in 2017. Okay, ICOs are all giant scams. A lot of them are giant scams, right? It's the same kind of
Right.
extraction that you see right now with the meme coins. NFTs were the same
NFTs,
thing
the
in
same thing
2021,
happened. Yeah,
but that was all on Ethereum, right? Ethereum had the best casino for NFTs and the best casino for ICOs, which is why the price of the token pumped so dramatically. And it hasn't had any new narratives in 2024 and 2025, really. I mean, Eigen layer restaking, nobody cares, right? Whereas Solana's had the best casino because it's so usable. So long term, the picture for Solana is very good. And again, value investors might be looking at the current prices and thinking, maybe you don't need to go all in, but maybe you start dollar cost averaging in based on this very oversold metric right now. But like I said, we haven't seen any sort of definitive bottoming moments here for the cryptocurrency market yet, and we still could see lower prices.
okay. I want to switch to Sonic. You want to talk about Sonic?
Sonic has been a big breakaway. So, in case you guys don't know what Sonic is, Sonic used to be Phantom. Now it's Sonic. Incredibly robust blockchain. I like how Andre, the founder, he's doing everything Vitalik should be doing. He's just out there nonstop every day, shilling his own chain, getting people excited, sharing information, sharing news, sharing new projects launching, all that kind of stuff. So they've been doing extremely well. The price has gone up pretty solidly. There's been a lot of big runners in the Sonic ecosystem. We've had huge inflows of money into the Sonic ecosystem. They're doing, by the way, I hold Sonic, but they're doing like a 200 million Sonic giveaway as well, an airdrop to people who are actually using the chain. So there's a lot of great APYs over there right now, a lot of early exchanges, relatively undervalued coins compared to their competitors on other chains and stuff like that. So there's a lot of opportunity over there. The main tokens had a big run recently as demands soared for it. Now, obviously, I'm not saying it's going to outperform a broader risk off movement in the cryptocurrency markets, but I think that the Sonic story is one we're going to hear a lot more about because it's such a technologically robust blockchain that has managed to get people excited through a different variety of incentives, from incentives for developers. They're giving back, I think, 90% of the fees that would normally be taken by the chain back to developers of apps. So if you're launching your app on Sonic, there's a really good reason to do that. And if you're participating in the Sonic ecosystem as just a regular user, there's also a lot of great things to do there because, basically you've got a whole bunch of ways to make money right now over there. Now, will that keep running if the markets absolutely go to crap? I mean, I don't know. We'll see, right? But I think it's an ecosystem that's worth continuing to pay attention to, especially if we don't go into a full on mega market collapse here.
Mega- the shift between the fear and the hopium today is just so extreme.
Yeah.
I could clip certain this episode and make it sound either direction. I could either make it sound like we're all gonna die or we're all gonna make it.
It reminds me of that meme where Homer Simpson's talking to Bart, and Bart's like, they put crypto captions on it. Bart's like, "Oh, my portfolio's down 70% or something like that," and then Homer's like, "70% so far."
Uh, no, Lark, let it end. Let it end. Okay, I got the Sonic chart up here because yeah, it is past 14 days up 60% in the past 14 days. What else is up 60% in the past 14 days?
Not much.
That's
Not
that's,
much.
that's looking pretty nice. So when you're looking at Sonic, are you buying the Sonic token, or are you bridging over there and playing around in the ecosystem and farming and buying other stuff?
Yeah, I've bridged some money over, and I've been playing around a little bit, doing just trying different stuff out, providing a little bit of liquidity here, messing around with some stuff. But mostly, I've just bought the Sonic token on the hopes, of course, that we don't enter a new bear market and have prices go
Mhm.
higher later in the year. So I think it's going to be one of those chains that continues to get a lot of attention. Again, very technologically robust chains. So if they can manage to be sticky and keep users around and keep developers around, then at least for the next 6 months to a year, with the 200 million Sonic airdrop going on, which is currently valued around $150 million, more, of course, if the price of Sonic goes up, then at least for 2025, I think there's a potential trade there.
Yeah. I'm glad you said for 2025 because there's just too many chains right now, too many
Oh,
L1s.
yeah.
We don't need all
Oh,
these
yeah.
L1s
No.
long term, right? So, but for 2025, there's still the opportunity there for sure. Okay, did you buy Kanye's coin? What do you think about that?
Oh, my gosh. Has that launched? Again, more just look, guys, this is dark, but some trench warrior sort of unalived himself on a live stream the other day. He's lost his last $500 in another meme coin rug pull. And right before he did that, he said, "Well, if I'm gone, make a meme coin for me." And of course, the degenerate gambling addicts did make a meme coin for that. It's just the level of financial nihilism is just beyond belief, guys. It's just money at the end of the day. Seek help, please. It's way more important things going on in your life than just money. And if you just, if you're playing in the trenches, you just if you keep losing money again, 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 well, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Okay. So please, okay, stop playing these silly games. Stop giving these celeb scam coins your money. We already know that there's been a lot of, and I don't even know if the Kanye coin is going to launch now, because the people who apparently rented Kanye's account, so they gave, apparently, this is all allegedly, okay, they gave Kanye $17 million to rent his X account for a short amount of time to be able to launch the Kanye coin. I don't know how much of that is necessarily true, but the guy who allegedly rented the account posted a screenshot of him on his own account and on Kanye's X account at the same time. So it's going to be another scam insider pull, rug pull. Whenever it launches, it's going to be a massive liquidity extraction. It's just nothing but a net negative for the space. Kanye doesn't give a shit about you guys. Obviously, if he's outsourcing this scam coin to a group of some kind of cartel, right? Much like the Kelsey group. It's not the Kelsey group, but a Kelsey-like group entity. It's nothing good. Nothing good comes of it. People ape a bunch of money in. It's another giant liquidity extraction of hundreds of millions of dollars from the space. Everybody loses all their money again. It's just stop playing these games, guys. Stop giving these celebrity scammers your money. Okay. It's always a bad idea. Never has it worked out well once with celebrity meme coins, right? So just stop.
I'm gonna clip that. We got to get Lark on every podcast right now to make sure that everybody hears that message because it's a very important message. No, I'm being dead serious. Yeah, thanks for for reminding us what's important and what it's just it's the financial nihilism, as you said, is truly out of control. But let's not forget that this is nothing new in
No.
humanity. Financial nihilism has been out of control every time there was an opportunity to capitalize at the degree that there is in new technology like crypto. Same thing has happened in the past. So that's nothing new. It's happening on a global scale right now and a bigger scale than it's ever happened before because of the incredible technology of blockchain.
Yeah.
So win for tech, loss for young men around the world. And I hope,
Yeah.
as you said, that
Yeah.
those young men take a deep breath and don't try to win it all and don't try to go for a home run every time and just slow down and invest slowly and think about the long term. And it's amazing what you can do in 30 years if you made 30% return per year in 30 years. And you started with like $1,000, you'd have like $11 million or something compounding. Like
Mhm.
everybody just stop trying to chase the big win. Lark, thanks so much as always for joining us today. It's
Thanks for having me on.
just a pleasure. I hope the next time we have 2 weeks from now we see you next.
Yeah.
Where okay, what do you
Fingers
think?
crossed.
2 weeks from now, are we up or are we down from where we are today?
Do I have a coin here I can flip? Let's see. Okay, heads were up, tails were down. I'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wicked awesome day. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your #1 resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.